I want to believe you can hear me now. So, viewers,
Yes, I can hear you.
we are so sorry for the viewers. We are so sorry for the technical inconveniences that we have to go through. So we have our guest online now. So thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate your support. I appreciate your patience. We're going to go into the show now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Engineer Olaode, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be part of this program. Thank you.
Okay, it's all right. We may have to just hit the nail. I mean, hit the nail on the head at the moment, having wasted some little time.
Okay.
Yes. Just recently, the International Telecommunication Union made a publication claiming that 96% of the global population now has access to mobile cellular network. Now, I have no reason to doubt the claim because I believe the claim is based on research. This is the telecommunication, International Telecommunication Union is powered by the United Nations, and this is the body that's been designated to take care of everything that has to do with telecommunication all over the world. So it's an internationally recognized powered organization. Now, despite this claim that 96% of the global population has access to the, mobile cellular network, you will agree with me that there's still a large variation in the efficiency and the affordability of this telecom facility across the globe. Now, having looked at that, what do you think is responsible for this variation? And now, when I say variation, I'm talking about variation in terms of affordability and efficiency. It's not the same across the globe, despite the fact that 96%, when you say 96% of the population, of the global population has access to it, it's as good as saying the whole global population has access to it. But that is right, so to say. But you agree with me that access does not really mean usage. It does not really mean efficiency. It does also not really mean affordability. You understand? But the access is there. However, the affordability and the efficiency varies largely. What do you think is responsible for this, and how do you think this can be sorted out? Or, what's your suggestion towards a better experience?
I would say that that figure it's actually strange to me that they say that 96%. That is a lot of guys. It's like saying even babies have access to telecommunication facilities.
It's everywhere. You can access it. It's
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
information. I didn't manufacture it.
No,
That's the fact that I have to present to you.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. See, my point is that like it is to personally to me, like I'm saying that figure is strange, and
Okay.
but I can say that from what I know about the Nigerian telecommunication industry and the Australian industry where I live, when I compare the two, I notice certain trends that makes
Sorry,
me
just 1
doubt
minute.
that.
Sorry, 1 minute. Because of the technical issue, because of the inconveniences, I forgot to introduce you. So please give me just 1 minute to quickly introduce you, and so that our viewers can have the knowledge of the guest. Now, like I said, considering the fact that telecommunication is available everywhere, just as the International Telecommunication Union has said, and but I know, and you know, that the affordability and is not as it has been portrayed, and that's why we have here today a telecommunication engineer who holds a master's and a doctorate degree in telecommunication from the University of Wollongong in Australia, and currently a member of engineers in Australia. He has worked as a research fellow with the University of Adelaide, and currently a researcher at the Center for Advanced Electronic Communication Technology in Australia. And is here to help us dissect the topic as titled Telecommunication Efficient Availability and Affordability alongside overall effect on economic growth. And he's not any other person, but he's a PhD holder, like I said, so I don't even know if I should address him as a doctor or an engineer. So I'm
Please
in
feel free
between
to.
the line there. But however, this is Engineer
Yeah.
Abass Olaode, PhD in
Uh,
Telecommunications Engineering. Thank you so much, Mr. Abass. So you have the floor. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. And maybe what I should have done when you ask the question is just go straight to the question, to the answer. That yes, while
Okay.
I dispute the figure because I know for one that the trend in Nigeria and most African countries do not support that figure because when we talk about technology, we are behind in the sense that we still import equipment, telecommunication
Okay.
infrastructure, the equipment, and we still import them. And even when we do, and occasionally we still rely on manpower from outside the country, the continent, to get this infrastructure installed, maintained. So this makes this gives us the reason. I mean, this I believe is the reason why Nigeria, for especially Nigeria, is behind. Then, in addition to that, I also noticed that the you see, uh, if you, we all know how governments worldwide they spend a lot of money on capital projects, bridges, roads.
Okay.
We all know this happens everywhere. But in Australia here, about 10 years ago, the government
Okay.
started a project called the government, Australian government, started a project which they call National Broadband Network.
Okay.
And this project costed over, I think, nearly $1 billion in government spending. And the goal of that project was to make sure that broadband internet is available everywhere in Australia, even in rural areas in Australia. So, which means
Okay.
for like 5 years, because I remember that it became popular because of the political issues here in Australia in 2012, because they were saying the government has spent more money than they should, and it was still far from being completed then, but it's not completed. And I can tell you that everybody, everywhere I have gone here in Australia in the last 2 3 years, there is high-speed internet everywhere, even in rural areas. So we are saying that if the government can spend that amount of money treating communication system as a capital project, where are we in Nigeria? And they here in Australia, they saw this as a necessity because we know Australia, the way it is designed, you have the big cities uh, near the coastal areas, while there are so many rural areas in what we call the outbacks. And what we notice is that like most people do not most agencies, most government offices, most medical facilities are not available in those areas. Even educational facilities are not usually available in those areas. So they reckon that, okay, look, if we make telecommunication available to people in the outbacks, the villages that are like we call it in Nigeria, people can work from those areas and still communicate with their main offices in the cities. Students, people who are working, maybe who are doing farm work, they can take online courses.
Okay.
People can do a lot. They can do online education even while they are far away from the cities. So so the government of Australia saw that as important, and they invested heavily into it, and it has worked. So we say that countries like Nigeria too, if eventually we realize the importance of such services, online studies, and online economy, e-economy, and things like that. One of the ways to stimulate growth and development and is to invest in the telecommunication industry from the government. Then the private sector
Okay, so
too. I'm listening to you, sir.
okay, okay, well, maybe to add that I you not saying that it is lack of investment, I mean enough investment, inadequate investment on the telecommunication system that is making it inefficient and unaffordable. I mean,
Yes.
unaccessible, so to say, to not just
Yes.
Nigeria alone now, but let's say
No.
basically the developing countries, so to say.
Yes. Developing countries. Developing countries. In fact, what
Okay,
I can tell you right now is that, like, before we used to categorize China as a developing country too, but over the last 20 years, China has changed. And I will tell you one of the things they did that surprised me. When the 2G network was being rolled out, when
okay,
there was still 2G network, no, we are not even talking 5G now, and we are even getting ready to go to 6G. They made a rule
okay,
in China. They made a rule in China that whenever there's a technology coming from America, they don't just take the technology and just use it like that. They will conduct research into it, then
okay,
create their own version of the technology, then use that in China.
okay. So that has
And
been the reason
they
why China has been able to move out of the developing countries, and the
thank
technology
you.
in China has been
It it
awesome at the
it
moment.
is it
So
is one of the reasons. It is why
okay,
so
in
we are
that case,
saying
for me, I feel well, finance can be a backbone, but this has gone beyond
mhm,
inadequate investment now. But this has also has to do with know-how, with technical know-how, people putting in their own expertise to do a fashion, I mean a version of what has been adopted. Uh, but
mhm.
do you think we have that ability to do that in this? Let's say in the developing countries, so to say, is the know-how, is it available?
Yes, we can. You see, it's always about the way forward. And we need to be very, very careful with our policies in Nigeria. I will remind you
Not
of
just Nigeria
what.
alone,
No, because
not just
Ni-
Nigeria.
the case in my case, like, I am familiar with what has been going on in Nigeria. I mean, like, I wasn't a
Okay,
child when President Obasanjo uh, came in as a civilian government in 1999, and I know some of his policies. I was not a child when General Abacha was creating Vision 2020.
okay,
So I know about all this, and I am telling you right now that if we had kept Vision 2020 that Abacha started in 1995, and
okay,
some of the investments former President Olusegun Obasanjo introduced in I think it's year 2000, if we had continued along those lines, we would have learned a lot. And I will now go back to China, because this is exactly the same thing China did. China, they created the policy and they sent their students out. Even like I was when
yeah,
during my master's degree at the University of Wollongong, we were about 50 in the class, and half of that class were Chinese.
interesting.
Half of the class were from China. And I wasn't alone. It's not just in Australia, even in America, it is reported that so many Chinese students go to America to study. And people like me will do our studies in Australia and stay in Australia, they are always eager to go back. Like most of my classmates are now back in China. In fact, one of them works in a telecommunication company in China. So we are saying it is about preparing long term. Like if right now we do not the government. do not have concrete plan about uh, 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 improving manpower and generating the know-how, sending students all around the world to look at what is going on and bringing back those knowledge to Nigeria, we may not be able to move forward.
Thank you
But
so much.
I know for sure, that we can move forward. We can get the job done. We can learn from other people and bring the knowledge back to Nigeria.
Okay. Okay. Now this is going to take me to another question. Now, when you say this is the reason why the call rate, take for instance now, I'm not just going to talk about the call rate. I'll talk about the fact that okay, we have access to the GSM network at least to a reasonable extent. Um, if not about 70, we could say about 80%. I'm using Nigeria as an example now. Using it as a case study for the developing countries, we can say about 80% of Nigerians have access to the mobile cellular network. Now, but I can tell you clearly that uh, the call rate, number one, the call rate, if you are going to call Nigeria to Nigeria, or you're going to call from, okay, let's put it this way. The call rate is still not too good. It's expensive, though it's affordable to an extent. Some people can still afford it, but for some people it's still a bit expensive, so it does not cut across the board. That's one. Two, because this is a three-in-one question. Two, the fact is that if I want to call Ghana from Nigeria, which is just a neighboring country, which I believe is closer to me, now the cost at which we make the calls are so alarming, very expensive. I'm talking about, you know, developing countries calling each other, or let's limit it down to say Africa. You understand? Calling each other. The call rate is so high compared to when you have to call far Europe. I mean Nigeria. I'm calling Ghana. It's much more expensive than what I'm going to call UK. It's much more expensive than what I'm going to call America, call Australia. That's what. The third aspect of this question is that streaming data is also almost becoming a luxury. Instead of it even getting cheaper, it's becoming more expensive on a daily basis. Now, what will you say is this same poor investment or the know-how that is still responsible for this?
Yes, you should always look at. I think I will start with the streaming data. Let's start with the streaming data. Yeah, that it is expensive because it is limited in availability. It is subjected to market forces. Can you hear me?
So, Doctor, do we still have you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello?
Can you see
Okay,
me?
fine. Sorry. Yes, we had some glitches and so we lost you. So, I don't know if you got my question. Did you get my question correctly?
Well, you can guide me, but I was about to start with the streaming data.
Okay. Yes.
Why it
Let me
is
phrase it
expensive?
so you can take it
Okay.
one after the other. The streaming data is one. It's quite expensive here in this part of the world, and it's becoming a
Mm-hmm.
luxury, and it's even getting more expensive on the daily basis. Uh, I know that of Nigeria, and to an extent, I can say a bit about Ghana. And I know that cut across some of the developing countries in Africa, the situation seems the same. Now, but the other question I was asking in this same question is that the call rate is still quite expensive. That's the second question. Within, I
Mhm.
mean, the local calls is still expensive. Now, coming about the third question is about the international calls. Why is it that calling from a neighboring country to a neighboring country, take for instance, calling Nigeria from
Mhm.
Ghana, is far more
Mhm.
expensive than when someone in a developing country has to call UK, far Europe, far America, far Australia, and you call at a much more cheaper
Mhm.
rate. So what do you think is responsible for that, and how do we I mean make it better?
Okay, I think I'll start with that. First of all, you need to know that there are technical things that is at play between a call from Nigeria to Europe
Okay,
that makes it cheaper.
okay. Can you give us, I mean, a little bit
Uh, Like
details
one of the
reference?
yeah one of the most important factor is the use of satellites.
Okay,
Yeah, this satellite was deliberately made cheaper for Africans to be able to talk to people in Europe. In fact, I remember if I remember correctly, Muammar Muhammad Gaddafi was one of the people who started the idea of providing satellite links for calls from Africa to the rest of the world.
okay,
We now notice that okay, because of the availability of satellite link, the call rates are generally cheaper. Unlike within Nigeria, well, where you have to link two um, mobile masts or two locations. You have to use cable, copper cable, or microwave link. These two, copper cable and microwave link, their bandwidth is very, very limited. Like, take for example, here in Australia, with the rollout of the NBN National Broadband Network that I mentioned before, calls you can make like in fact you can even make a landline call for free. It's for free. All you just have to do is pay for your internet and you get voice call for free. And mobile and my our mobile charges so many mobile companies they are competing. Therefore, if you are not satisfied with the price you are getting from one, the others are waiting for you to come. And we get it for very cheap compared to what we earn anyway.
So are you saying basically the essence of the high cost is because of lack of competition, or you're saying that it's because of the fact that we are not in an up-to-date equipment to make the technology how do I put it, to make I mean an up-to-date equipment that will make the technology more economical, and then we'll be able to make cheaper transactions. Is that what you're trying to say? Can you just make the audience get
Okay,
something
I
from
will
that?
summarize it. I will summarize it by saying one of the first important factor
Okay.
is infrastructure.
All right.
That is to say that
Infrastructure is one of the things responsible for the high
your
cost.
infrastructure is not supporting all the subscriber.
Okay.
Therefore, the price goes up because there is shortage in supply. And since there's shortage in supply, even when companies come in to compete with one another, they still cannot meet the demand because the infrastructure is not adequate. So the
Now let me
price will
take you
remain
on
up.
that. Let me take you on that. Now, if the infrastructure is not adequate, yet the market is large, it means that the
Yes,
market is larger than the infrastructure, isn't it? Am I getting
yes,
right? Now,
yes.
is that enough reason for the price to be higher? Is that not enough reason for the price to be cheaper?
Well, that is when, first of all, you have to look at it this way. If the government decided that, okay, look, we want to take care of our masses and provide that infrastructure, then let the companies come and compete on how they use the infrastructure. The price will come down.
Okay, now in this sense, let me rephrase what you have said so that we can be sure
Okay.
that we're on the same page. Now you're saying that the reason why the call rate from Africa to Africa is quite higher than the call rate from Africa to far Europe or far America is as a result of the fact
Mm-hmm.
that the satellite that is supposed to be available, which will connect, Africa directly instead of going further to somewhere else before returning back the call to the local, to the
Mm-hmm.
neighboring country. You're saying that satellite is not available. If I'm right, is that what you're saying?
But the satellite is available for calling to Europe.
Yes, it's available, but it's not. Do we
Yeah.
say it's not? It's not accessible by Africans, or there's no enough investment on it for Africans to have their own, and so that they can make this call without going through a central point that will first connect them back to the local point. Is that what you're
Okay.
saying,
First of all,
Olaode?
I, I, I'm I'm trying to avoid getting too technical, but I guess I will have to do
Yes,
it.
yes, I understand. Yes, I understand, and I'm also
Okay.
trying to also ensure that the audience really gets the point. So we need to strike a
Okay.
balance there.
So first of all, you have to understand something that okay, not many people can use the locally available infrastructure provided by for example, the Nigerian government to communicate within the Nigeria. That is why you get instability that they call drops. That's because too many people are connected.
Yeah.
You see, while the market, Nigeria, 250 million people, is is a paradise for investors.
Exactly.
Yes, but because laying the foundation
By
to
the
put in the
government.
infrastructure in place is too massive for those companies that want to come and tap into the Nigerian market. They need the government to do that. So until the government does that, local calls may be very difficult or may remain expensive. On the other hand, when trying to call Europe, for example, it is actually a little easier because the number of calls they have to handle going to UK will not be as many as the ones within Nigeria. So that makes it cheaper to call UK than to call within Nigeria. But with respect to other African countries, we have like I don't know about Nigeria to Ghana because I don't know exactly how they do their interchange. I don't know exactly how they do it. So, but I can almost guess that it is not straightforward. That is why it is expensive.
Okay, so what can the government do to make it straightforward? It's just about infrastructure, isn't that? So which means
First
we
of all,
must have inadequate infrastructure.
I
Okay,
would
go
say
on.
number one, I expect the Nigerian government to invest heavily in fiber optics because once they invest in fiber optics, the capacity, the system capacity goes up by like a thousand times. Therefore, from one base station to another base station, so many calls you're able to go through at the same time. Here in Australia, they even do it so they do it this way such that even from all the way to the home, there are some homes where it is fiber cable that goes into the home. Yeah. So when you connect to the internet in their home, it is high speed.
So that wants to bring me to another question that I would have loved to ask, which I'm going to ask right away now, and that's the
Okay.
issue about streaming data. Now, it's expensive, yet you don't even get the value that you want. Take for instance, see the kind of lynchings we've been going through while communicating with you. Now, anyway, thank God for telecommunication. It wouldn't have been possible for us to connect together, but we are connecting together, but yet we still have a lot of challenges to solve. Now, what will you suggest? Firstly, I'm talking globally now. What will you suggest to make it better in a way that we can lessen these glitches that we have just experienced in this particular, this is the same thing just facing us right. I mean, daring us right in the face. What we are talking about is just what is daring us
Mhm.
right in the face now that we've experienced here now. Now, as an expert in this field, what can you suggest that can lessen this? Now, bring it down to the developing countries where we are paying, I mean, exorbitantly for data, and yet you don't even get value for it. What will you say to that?
I would say first of all, like the government regulatory bodies, they need to work very hard because I remember when MTN came to Nigeria in the early 2000s, we had similar problem, and people how do you call it, like they discovered that it is because there was a kind of a monopoly. But when the competition started, and I mean, like I remember the Bureau of Public Enterprises then, uh, then under the leadership of Nasir El Rufai, they sold out licenses and got many more companies into the telecommunication industry, the mobile industry. Then price came down. Some of the companies that could not cope or that could not satisfy their customers lost customers to the others. I remember I myself I was one of the people to buy first few people to buy Globacom then. Yeah, that was in 2003. That was when I got my Globacom line then, and I was happy because then Globacom was indigenous, and so many of us were happy that we are instead of MTN to be taking all our money to South Africa, we were happy with Globacom. So I'm saying now we have to do almost the same thing again, but then there's a small problem with the case of Nigeria, because what I notice is that, like, 5G is not well, it's not currently all over Nigeria.
I was just about to take you on that, but before you go into 5G,
Okay.
I'm going to come to that. But before you go into 5G, I just want to I want us to get something straight. Now, what you're saying here now is that first and foremost, because there's no competition, and that's why we are
Mm-hmm.
not getting the best value we should get. That's one. Two, you also made a
Yeah.
point which I want that to sink. I want you to drive it home, and that's the fact that the infrastructure are not even enough, because you gave an instance of some homes in Australia having fiber optics delivering the data to them. I mean, you can imagine where
Yes.
a fiber optics is delivering your data to you compared to when you have to connect to a mask that's over a million, 2 million. I mean, people are
Yes.
connected
Yes.
to
Yes.
at the same time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're having. I mean, for me, the fiber optics delivering data to your home is like a special service. Maybe you call what you call a
Mm-hmm.
premium service, or I don't know how to put it. I don't know how best to put it,
Well,
but
I can
you get what
guarantee
I'm trying
you
to say.
it is not special here because almost everybody has
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I'm
understand,
enjoying
but
it.
I'm just trying to make you understand. I'm just trying to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
you
yeah. I
understand
know what you're saying.
of the
I know what you're
situation.
saying.
Ha. So in that sense, what we are saying, which means that the telecommunication providers are guilty because they are not giving
Yep.
adequate value with
Mm-hmm.
adequate
Mm-hmm.
infrastructures. And at the same time, the government also needs to open up for more competition so that the business can thrive. Now, let's now come down to the issue
Yeah.
of 5G. Now, considering the issue of 5G, now, I mean, what, um, how will you place it compared to the 4G that is, you know, mostly globally in use? I understand the
Mm-hmm.
fact that the 5G has been connected in several places, but of course, there's still a lot of
Mm-hmm.
issue around it that it has not been allowed. In fact, one of the researches I did told me that only 11% of the global population has been accessing 5G at the moment. Only 11% of the global population.
Okay.
Down in the developing countries, just about 1% or maybe 1.5% is accessing 5G at the
Okay.
moment. Now, because 5G is still subject to discussion, there's a lot of debate around it.
Okay.
But however, what is your own stance about 5G? How do you think 5G will better, bring about both social and economic advancement? And then, do you think 5G will stop this issue that has been daring myself and you in the face now, that we just witnessed now, in terms of the glitches that we have been having? Basically, put this together and let us know what will be the social and the economic advancement if 5G
Okay.
becomes, accepted or in use, and then 4G is left to, to be put behind, and 5G is accepted. More so, we are still going to talk about if peradventure it has been, the debate has been concluded, and then the 5G is now being accepted. What is going to be the implication to man and the environment? So
Okay.
I'll leave it
First
there.
of all, I want to assure you that 5G has come, has been accepted. I have been using it for 5 years now.
For how many years?
5 years since 2020, since COVID.
Okay.
I changed my phone to 5G during COVID in 2020,
Okay.
and I deployed it in many places in Australia.
Okay.
In 2020, that is between 2020 and 2023. Yeah. And Right now, I attended at the University of Adelaide last year, that is 2024. I attended a workshop on 6G. So 6G is already in development.
Okay.
And because I don't want to talk about 4G, but I will tell you one thing about 5G, that each mast is capable of accepting 1 million connection.
For 5G.
5G, 1 million connection. 6G, the target for that is to go above that limit. And the reason why they are doing all this is because communication systems usage has changed. Like many advanced technologies now rely on telecommunication system. Like I don't know how much people use Internet of Things in Nigeria.
Let me make a statement. Um,
Yeah.
just to, buttress what you have said. Now, the Internet of Things is not something, strange anywhere any longer, even
Okay.
amongst the developing countries.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there's this common saying that communication is the life wire of everything. But I want to seize this opportunity to change it now. To say it has gone beyond communication being the life wire of everything, but telecommunication being the life
Mm-hmm.
wire of everything. Because we are getting to an age where without
Mm-hmm.
telecommunication, communication cannot be accessible. I don't know if you get my point.
Yep.
So, you see,
Yep. I get.
that's why I'm asking this question that, I mean, what what will be the benefit of the 5G? Either we like it or
Mm-hmm.
not, it was initially 2G, 3G, now it became 4G.
Mm-hmm.
Now the discussion is basically on the fifth generation network, which is commonly known as 5G. Like I said, 5G is not strange. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
knows about 5G. Even if it has been
Yeah.
strange, since the day of COVID, 5G became something very
Mm-hmm.
popular that everybody got to know about. It
Mm-hmm.
raises a lot
Mm-hmm.
of debate, and up till now, there's still debate on it.
Okay.
Is it that you agree with
I like
okay, then
I have to interrupt you. That trust me, the debate, whatever debate people are having with 5G is useless, because any advanced society now need 5G.
exactly.
And I was telling you, like I was telling you about
That's why I
I
want you.
mentioned Internet
That's
of
why I want
Things.
you. Yes, I want you to talk so much, emphasize about the social and economic advantage and the adverse effect.
In fact, I was going to give you another example again, where 5G is
Okay.
where 5G is needed in any advanced society. Do you know many of the cars that are being produced now come with artificial intelligence?
And you're trying to tell us about the smart city where cars are
Thank you.
controlling themselves.
I'm coming to that.
There are safety
That
marshals
I was coming to
everywhere.
that later. But now that you mentioned it, I'll put everything together. Smart city,
Okay.
autonomous cars, autonomous cars, advanced robotics. All these are what is shaping the future in
Telematics in medicine.
in the advanced countries.
Telematics in medicine. Why? I mean, the advancement
Yes,
this can bring to medical aid. Can you say a little about that?
yes, yes. Like although personally I am not too involved in the um, medical technologies, but I can guarantee you that from some of the things that are being discussed here in Australia, we are talking about how it is possible for a doctor to provide consultancy while people who are going to actually get the job done, do a particular procedure, might be in the rural area.
Exactly.
Here in Australia, we also have a thing now where uh, you could actually do e-medicine, where you could actually just talk to your doctor and it will send you prescription online. So you don't have to go to the hospital. And so many things that we now know that it is important to have reliable, efficient, and affordable communication system. And we also know now that, okay, because in 5G, common users like you and I, we have to struggle with machines because of Internet of Things using the current system. Therefore, they are now moving ahead to 6G, which will allow users like you and I to have more access to the network.
Okay, doctor. I understand what you're trying to say, and I want to believe that the viewers also understand most of the things you are trying to say with respect to the advantages of the 5G. I mean, how it can help in medicine, how it can help in automobiles, where you can have the self-driving vehicles, help in smart cities and Internet of Things and thereabouts. Now, but do you agree, or what is your own take on the fact that, because those are one of the basic debates before we come to other,
Mhm.
I mean, germane questions that we need to ask. The basic debate is that because of the fact that it's going to be faster, it's going to be faster. The rate at which it's going to be working is going to
Mhm.
be much faster than that of the 4G. And then
Yeah.
in getting faster, it means that a lot of radioactive energy has to be in the atmosphere, has to increase the motion, and then possibly
Hmm.
there will be more volume of it in the atmosphere. And then man believes that the presence of this radioactive energy in the atmosphere is hazardous to the environment and hazardous to to man.
Okay.
So, what will you say? What will you? I mean, how do you? I mean, how do we strike a balance here? How do you assure that the adverse effect will not be? I mean, so so bad or so obvious, and that because that has been the fear of a lot of people, or that's
Okay.
what has brought about a lot of it. So, what will you say to that?
First of all, I will say that any technology we adopt has pros and cons.
Okay.
It is up to the people who are doing the regulation, whom we trust uh, for our safety regarding use of technology, to give us guidance. We as the users and the people who are giving us the services. So they have to be able to say, okay, okay, whatever you do, do not your mast should not operate above this amount, above this power level. And you, the user too, they will come to you and tell you it is recommended that you do not hold your phone every time. Things like what to do, what not to do. These are things we need them to tell us. But if we, because I will tell you what I always think about Nigeria, the amount of population we have and how we struggle with things. Yeah, Mr. Benson, you remember in our days when we used to go to JAMB office to collect our results, our JAMB results, how we queue for hours just to be able to get our results. But now that is gone. Why is that? Because now somebody somewhere know the importance of publishing results online and people accessing it online. Hello, are you there?